This is just a little video I wanted to make while I was in progress of working on the big one, which I haven't really talked about at all on the channel. The people who know about it know about it. Um, Hoping to be done with that within the next 2 weeks, maybe sooner. But I'm just gonna, pick 50 albums that I recommend listening to. These are in no particular order. These are just albums that I like and I think are worth listening to. So the first one we're gonna go with is Paid Programming by Bones. Um, I've been into this guy for a long time. I've seen him in concert. It was a great show. He's kind of a sleaze, but I still like him. He doesn't really seem like a super problematic guy. He just seems like kind of a jerk. Um, this is like just some SoundCloud rap. There are two paid programmings. There's one and two. I'm picking one because I'm more familiar with it. I think it was the first album by Bones I really got into. It's got some really great songs on it. Some of my favorites are 30 Day Free Trial. Um, I think Cut is kind of an amusing song. Um, there are a lot of really other good ones on it. Um, really, the whole first 7 songs out of a 27 track album are really great too. Um, Teen Girl Dies at Rave is really fun, and Blink 187. That's a terrible thing. Teen Girl Dies at Rave is really fun. It's very funny. There's a weird sense of humor to it that it seems to like really take itself seriously, but um, it's not serious. It's just hyperbole. There's a lot of talk about him stabbing people in the songs too, which is definitely interesting. Um, the next album I want to pick is Asia by Asia. This is a great, rock and roll album from the 80s. It's just really good. Um, I like it a lot. I don't really know what to say about it except for that I like the album. Um, it's pretty classic. You've definitely heard some of these songs before. Let's get to the next one. I'm just like scrolling through my albums, deciding which ones to pick. I didn't really think this through. I just wanted to record something. That's a great one. Uh, Begin to Hope by Regina Spektor. This album, there are going to be several albums. All this, a lot of these female singer albums, are songs that I listen to in really really tough times. Some of my favorites from this album are Samson and Fidelity and Better. Those are the first three, but it's all really good. Um, Next, I want to pick Scream Dracula Scream by Rocket from the Crypt. This is just a good punk album from the mid '90s. Um, I love this album. I We had it on CD, and that's how I listened to it. My parents had this. My parents and my brother had a massive CD collection, and that's how I found this one. I always thought the album art was so cool, but I didn't really understand punk when I was younger, so I I didn't really get it. But now that I'm older and I understand punk, I do get it. Uh, Next is the Moon EP by Moon. You'll recognize that almost every song on this EP is in a Hotline Miami. I do love those games, but I think the album by itself is great. And if I didn't know about the games and I had discovered the album on its own, I would be really into it. Um, just some good electronic beats, very bassy. badass stuff to listen to, like club music and a horror movie kind of stuff. The next album I want to pick, oh, is it even here? Or is it? There it is Madness by Madness. This is a pop album from the 80s. You will know it for the song Our House. Um, my favorite song on this album is House of Fun. It's pretty ridiculous and it's very amusing. I think it's a really good album. I think it really gets overlooked just because it has Our House, which isn't like a bad song at all, but I mean, there's more interesting stuff going on this album than that. And we have American Dream by LCD Sound System. I don't really know how to put this album in the words. It's pretty emotionally charged, but it's a really good album. Then we have Rap Music by Killer Mike, which is one of the greatest albums to come out in the last 15 years for rap. It's great. Killer Mike kills it. He has some insane songs on here that are just really freaking good. I remember making my dad listen to Reagan on this album, and he hated it. He when Killer Mike goes, "I'm glad Reagan dead." My dad did not like that. um, it's a really good rap album. There's gonna be a lot of rap music on this because I think rap music is maybe the most interesting genre of music. Next, we have Tower of Love by Jim Nor. This album came out in 2005. It's a weird alternative album. I learned about it from Little Big Planet, uh, specifically the song My Patch. Then I explored it further, and I was like, wow, this is a great album, and I really like it. What should I add next? Uh, then we have Love Angel Music Baby by Gwen Stefani. Just a amazing album. A really good betwixt of pop and rap music. I really love this album. This was the kind of thing I grew up listening to with my mom when she drove me to school and stuff like that. Um, Huge fan of this album. I think I think Harajuku Girls might be a little offensive in today's comparison, but you know what? I think Gwen Stefani can get away with it. Um, just a great album, pop album. Um, Definitely not going to be for everybody who watches this. A lot of these albums really aren't going to be for everybody who watches this, but I don't care. I'm having fun. Which brings us to our next album, Rhinestone Cowboy by Glenn Campbell. I used to, there's so many people who say that they hate country music, and I think that comes from the fact that like, when you say you hate a genre of music, that's such a reductive, like closed mind perception on something. That's like saying I don't like ice cream if you're talking about desserts. Like what are you talking about? That's not even a good comparison. So scratch that. But it's really reductive. There's a good article that says that like hating rap music is racist, and yes, it is, and hating country music is classist, and yes, it is because those are the primary demographic for rap music is people of color, and the primary demographic for country music is people who aren't, you know, super wealthy. And country music has a lot to offer besides Red Solo Cup. Rhinestone Cowboy is a great album about heartbreak and like how scary it is to be famous and how depressing it is. It's I don't know. I just think it gets overlooked, country music, because I like a lot of country music. I've seen Dwight Yoakam live. I never got to see Glenn Campbell live, but I think those tickets would be really expensive. Rest in peace, Glenn Campbell. Next up, we have another weird rock album. from the 80s, Abacab by Genesis. I love Genesis. I love Phil Collins. I think it's a great album. Out of all of Genesis, Abacab's probably my favorite. Uh, I think it's a very fun album. I don't know. That's really hard because Genesis has some really great albums. Like, and then there were three is really good. Invisible Touch is really good. Um, Genesis is really good. If you want to talk about the coolest um, music video of all time, Genesis's Land of Confusion is probably up there in the top 10. It's an amazing music video. Um, yeah, I'm having a hard time deciding what I want to pick next. I guess like it doesn't really matter what I put these albums in order of. I kind of said that from the beginning. Um, uh, Next up is Doctor Octagonacologist by Doctor Octagon, also known as Cool Keith. This album's hilarious and it's great. Um, all of it is just like really, it's from 1996 and it's in that era of like weird rap music that's kind of adjacent to like MF Doom and Quasimodo and those guys. That's just like really different and really kind of humorous and strange and a little awkward. I really love this album. Uh, it just sounds great. And I guess I can bring us to our another rap album. Did I spell it wrong? No, I did. Soul Assassins 3 by DJ Muggs. It has literally everyone on it. It's got Boldy James, Jay Worthy, and Spanto, Ghostface Killa, a West Side Gun, CeeLo Green, Freddie Gibbs, Scarface, Method Man, Slick Rick. Like this, if you want some like some like real rap music, you know, some hardcore gangster stuff, Soul Assassins 3 delivers. This was my number one most album listened to of 2023. I listened to it ad nauseum because I just think it's an amazing album. It just sounds great. DJ Muggs has great production. It's just an awesome album. All of it is just good, 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 good. Uh, my favorite tracks from it are Joker's Wild, Streets Made, Crazy Horse, and Metropolis. Metropolis, the with Slick Rick. Slick Rick has the most insane verse that I like maybe ever in all of rap. It's a crazy verse. And it's just so I wish I could go into how insane of a verse this is, but there's no way I could do it justice for how good it is. It it's so it's like what listening to it is like watching somebody paint an amazing painting. It's an insane verse. It's great. Next we're gonna go to random access memories. Everything that you could say about random access memories has already been said, so I'm not even gonna bother. If you haven't listened to it, you are missing out. It's awesome. That's all. Is it time? I think it's time. Emotion by Carly Rae Jepsen. If you know me at all, you know I love Carly Rae Jepsen. I think she's awesome. I think so much of her stuff is just so good. Emotion especially, and that's like kind of a hard pick because while I do like Emotion a lot, I like Kiss a lot too. Her second album, which is the Call Me Maybe album. But I think Emotion is a little more thought provoking. Um, then we're gonna go to London Zoo, which is a grime album. Grime is like dirty UK rap. This album's really great. It's got Flodan on it. It's got Warrior Queen on it. It's got Killa P on it. It's grime. It's grime as fuck. It's the damn. I didn't want to swear, but I don't really care. This is nobody's gonna watch this, but it's a super grimy album. It's great. I've been learning a lot more about grime hip hop in the last year. Um, I really like it. Uh, it's a great album. Specifically, "Skang" by Flodan is maybe the best song on the album. It's just a very intimidating song. It's really good, like exceptionally good. The Warrior Queen song's really good too. The way she talks is just amazing lyrically, and her accent is super interesting to hear. Her rapping with. I'm not sure where Warrior Queen is from, or if she's because I understand that a lot of the people on this album, like Flodan and Killer P, are from the UK. I don't know where Warrior Queen is from. If I would guess, I would think she's like actually from Africa, but I might just be wrong. And I probably shouldn't guess where people are from. Other than that, like she kills it, and so does Flodan. Flodan himself is really good to just check out. We're gonna go to our next album, oh, which is 1000 Hertz by Shellac. Uh, this album's hilarious. It's got New Number Order on it, which is a really funny song. This is a Steve Albini project. Rest in peace, Steve Albini. You did some questionable stuff, but whatever. Steve, an album should be able to be finished in a week. Albini, yeah, you're crazy, dude. Anyways, it's a great album. Prayer to God is one of the best punk songs ever written. It's awesome. I want to look at I'm gonna take a few seconds to really decide which one of these I want to pick because I don't want to repeat musicians. Um, where is it? Our next album is Scott by Scott Walker. This album's creepy. Scott Walker's creepy. It's from the late 1960s. It's a pop album. Scott Walker was with the Walker Brothers. He did some solo stuff, and as he got older, his stuff got weirder. Um, whatever. This album is really, really good. It's really beautiful. It's haunting. It's really kind of creepy. It's kind of goth. I would say that maybe it's like proto goth. Um, it's a great album. I'm saying that about every album I put on here because they're all great albums because I only listen to good music. But give Scott Walker a try. Did I not spell that right? Nope. This album, I don't remember where I found it. I really like it. It's kind of hard to listen to because of how creepy it is, but it's really short. It's only about 20 minutes long. Uh, let's see if I can even pronounce this correctly. S Maharba. It's good. It's a great album. It's really interesting. I don't really know what to say about it because I don't know anything about them, but I really enjoy it. Next up is For Your Pleasure by Roxy Music. This is a 1970s album. It's also kind of goth. It's like proto goth. It's really a great album. I really don't know how to describe it other than that. It's really a great album, he says. It's really a great album, he says. It's got some great songs on it. Um, some of my favorites. Well, Do the Strand is really fun. Beauty Queen is great. Um, In Every Dream, Home a Heartache, and The Bogus Man, all really good. I don't know what to tell you. Listen to the album yourself. You'll figure it out. Next up is Shrines by Purity Ring. It's another electronic album. Came out in 2012, so about 12 years ago. Oh, 12 years ago, God. Um, it's got some really good female vocals. Um, make some weird noises. It's really weird electronic. I don't really know how to describe it, honestly. Um, it's really, really good. Trying not to spend like 3 minutes on every album I make. Um, not every album I make, every album I put on here because this video would be like 5 hours long. And I'm having a hard time. You know what? I guess it's the easy thing to do. Is that next is Prince by Prince. If you don't, I'm not even gonna say anything. All right. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can go. Like, go sort yourself out. Okay. I don't need to explain why I'm putting Prince on here. It's hard to decide which Prince album I wanted to pick. Next, we have Let It Bleed by the Rolling Stones. My favorite Rolling Stones album. Um, you got Gimme Shelter, classic. Midnight Rambler, classic. And of course, You Can't Always Get What You Want, which is the only 7 minute song that I would say is not long enough. It's an amazing song. We're gonna do another classic rock album. I, I say classic rock. I'm looking at it right now. This album was made in the '90s. Oh my God. REM Out of Time. This is a great album. I'm sure you've heard Losing My Religion, which I think is one of the most interesting songs ever. It's a great, great album. REM is just really good. I don't really know enough about him to really keep talking about him. Next up is LP4 by Ratatat. This album came out, oh my God, 14 years ago. And it's just like, this is, and for someone who does no longer consumes cannabinoids or any substances, LP4 is definitely the kind of album you want to listen to if you're like at a party or you're stoned or you're just chilling. It's just got like some really interesting piano melodies. It's really chill. It's kind of funny. There's some funny samples in there. It's really it's just a great album. Rat doesn't get talked about enough, and they haven't made an album in forever, and it makes me sad. Next is Doolittle by the Pixies. Uh, yeah, good album. I don't really care about Surfer Rosa. I can admit that. I'm not the biggest Fight Club fan. Um, my favorite song on this album is probably Monkey Gone to Heaven. But Crackety Jones and Hey are also really good. Here Comes Your Man is a classic. It's a great album. Um, we're getting in the thick of it, so I'm gonna really start picking some of my favorites. And like, I might make another video like this where I change things up, just talk about different things. Next is Manners by Passion Pit, who I have seen live. Its album came out in 2009. Oh, oh, I was 7. This album's most famous for Sleepyhead because that was in the Little Big Planet 2 trailer, but this whole album's great. Um, Seeing it live was really weird. I guess they couldn't really replicate a lot of the sounds that were made in the studio in person, so it sounds really different in like real being in the same room that they're playing, and it's like listening to two different albums, and it's really cool. I really enjoyed it. I think I was like 15 when I saw them, maybe 16. I think it was the first concert I went to on my own. It was a lot of fun. Really thinking what comes next. This album, by the way, I Forgive You by Brandy Carlisle, came out when I was getting my heart broken for the first time, and it's very cheesy and kind of weepy and dramatic, and I think it's an amazing album. I love this album. I can sing half of the songs on this album. I just think it's a great album. Um, I'm just like making a dumb look on my face, like smiling, just thinking about how well I know this album. It's some singer-songwriter stuff. It's really good. Brandy Carlisle herself is just great, and she's really worth checking out. Next is They Want My Soul by Spoon, which came out 10 years ago. Really good album. Really, really great album. It's just a nice alternative album. My favorite song is New York Kiss, the last track on the album. It just sounds great. Again, I don't write music. I don't make music. I'm just talking about albums I like. Um, I play the banjo. That's about it. Um, yeah, trying to think where I should go next. Oh, nope. Next is 1984 by Van Halen. I was thinking about what Van Halen album I should put on here, like the entirety of thinking about this video, and I was like, should I just do the first album or should I do 1984? Should I do 50, 51, 51, 50? Because David Lee Roth is the best, but I don't hate Sammy Hagar. I think Sammy Hagar does some things differently. Maybe not as good, but I still think some of those albums are really good. Next is Moon Dance by Van Morrison. This is one of my mom's favorite albums. It's a rock album from the 70s. Not rock like Van Halen. It's really different. It's kind of a. I think most people listen to it and think it's a country album. It's not, but it's. I don't know. Van Morrison is Horrison. Van Morrison is really hard to describe. He makes really interesting stuff. Next, I want to put "Excitable Boy" by Warren Zevon. You know this album from Werewolves in London, which is pretty obvious. But the other songs like Johnny Strikes Up the Band and Rollin' the Headless Thompson Gunner and the final song on the album, Lawyers, Guns, and Money, are all just really good classic albums. And then we've got Who's Next? And you would think, like, oh, he's going to talk about Bob O'Reilly. No, dude. No, dude. Won't get fooled again. That's the album we're talking about. I love uh I love the Who. Bunch of creeps and perverts, but really talented guys. Next we've got Skylarking by XTC. Uh I haven't put an Adam Ant album on here, and I think it's too late to put an Adam Ant album on here, so I guess XTC wins. Skylarking is a really good album. I believe it was produced by Todd Rundgren. Uh, I'm just gonna assume it was. I think it was. Um, it's good. Check it out. You're gonna be pleasantly surprised by what it is. And then we're gonna add "Praise the Lord Who Chews, but which does not consume or simply hop between worlds" by Eves Two This album came out last year. It was my number three album, and it's great. It's kind of prog. It's really a hard album to describe. Um, like all music is hard to describe without just playing what it sounds like. It just wasn't what I was expecting it to be, and I'm very happy with what it is. Um, I'm thinking of putting a metal album on here, but I can't think of what metal album I want to put on here. Kind of hard to pick. Next, we're gonna slide "How Dare You" by 10cc on there. Great album. You've got so much stuff on this album. You've got so many good songs. 10cc is really cool. I don't really hear anyone really talk about them. You've got "How Dare You." The intro track, "Lazy Ways" is really fun. "I Want to Rule the World" is hilarious. "I'm Mandy," "Fly Me," "Rock and Roll Lullaby," "Art for Art's Sake." Really, every song on this album's a win, is what I would say. Yeah. Where is we're gonna add a metal album. We're gonna put Pop Sunbather by Deaf Haven. If you want to start crying while listening to metal, listen to that. I guess I should put it. It's kind of a boring pick. I didn't want to get into like the MU picks, but Flint Spiderland. Yeah, I live there. I lived in where that picture was taken. Pretty cool. This album's pretty great. It's very emotionally charged and kind of sad to listen to. Kind of a reductive way to put it, but it's a great album. These are all great albums. Next is A Grand Don't Come for Free by The Streets. It's a rap concept album by a British guy, and it's really good. It's very tongue in cheek, but it just sounds great. I only really learned about it last year. I think it's really good. Um, I mean, I'm just talking to talk at this point. I'm just killing time. I don't know. What do we want to put on here next? We're getting down to the last 10. Vega Until Night School by Neon Indian is an awesome kind of synthy, electronic, punchy alternative album. It's got the song Slumlord on it, which has an awesome music video, but really every song on this album is very funky and very punchy and just really fun to listen to. It's a really good album if you want to listen to some kind of clubby, sleazy bangers. Next we have Exile in Guyville by Liz Phair. Just go listen to it. Then we've got Boys and Girls in America, which is Exile on Guyville for men. So go listen to those. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about when you finish listening to both of them. Um, Next is Brain Salad Surgery by Emerson Lake and Palmer, a classic prog rock album. It's really weird. This is real prog rock. This isn't your King Crimson garbage, though Greg Lake from King Crimson is the vocalist for and the vocalist and guitarist for Emerson Lake and Palmer. Given the name Emerson Lake and Palmer, Greg Lake, Keith Emerson, Greg Lake, Carl Palmer. I've seen Carl Palmer live. Unfortunately, Keith Emerson and Greg Lake are no longer with us. Really sucks. I'm not going to talk about this one. I'm just putting it there. You'll understand. Uh, Mark Kozlik and Jimmy Lavelle's Peril from the Sea is one of my crying albums. It's one of the most painfully depressing albums. Mark Kozlik is a scumbag, but you can still like people's art even though they're a bad person. Otherwise, we wouldn't like any art at all. Which kind of circles back to the album I picked before it. Next up, we've got Erotic Probiotic 2, which came out last year. And probably my number one album was Soul Assassins 3. My number two album was definitely Erotic Probiotic 2. And my number three album was Hop Between Worlds. Erotic Probiotic 2 is awesome. It's really interesting. From what I understand, it was all made in the guy's parents' basement, but it sounds amazing. It's great. It's a great album. We're down to the last three. I'm really trying to pick. Um, we've got Kimono My House by Sparks, Sparks does not get nearly enough recognition. They deserve way more. This album's so full of life and character and just like fun and whimsy. It's just a beautiful, beautiful album. This next one is really hard for me to pick. It's really hard for me to pick, but I think we're gonna go with "Darkness on the Edge of the Town" by Bruce Springsteen, baby. This is a great album. Like it's all I gotta say. It's Bruce Springsteen. What else could you want? And the last album we're gonna pick, the last album I'm gonna misspell, is Gaucho by Steely Dan, which I've gone over before. So this is 50 albums. Just pick one, listen to it, enjoy, and remember, Cowboys help Cowboys.